Right, okay, so we just finished our afternoon English session. It went surprisingly well. I don't really feel like I've done English, if that makes sense, like the verbs and past tense and pretense and stuff like that. But we did spellings, we did readings. Yes, darling?
The boys are
Go on.
kicking the ball
In the living room.
at the wall.
At the wall. Okay, thank you, sweetheart. I'll tell them.
Bye-bye.
Yes,
Love you.
All right, thank you. So yeah, it went really well.
Hello.
We did spellings, we did some reading, we did some sentences. For my youngest son, I already had some sort of like, sort of younger exercise books anyway. So we went through that. He did his alphabet. He did, again, some sentences and stuff like that. So I was actually quite pleased. Again, the reading, the spellings. Same with my 10-year-old. We did the same. I actually found some year 5 online worksheets. It was a PDF, which is fine. And then he transferred it just to an A4 sheet of paper and did sentences, did full stops, capital letters. Sorry, I know I keep touching my face. I shouldn't because of the coronavirus. And it's really hard to stop doing that. It's difficult to get out of that habit. I feel like I'm constantly doing this. Maybe it's, of course, sore eyes, so maybe it's just I'm irritated a bit. But yeah, it went really, really well. My eldest, for the first time today, I'm absolutely thrilled. I did get his English language books out for his GCSE. What's it called? Romeo and Juliet. He still wasn't kind of in that mindset to do, so I really don't want to push him too much to just trying to do this as positively as I can with the kids. So he said he just wanted to do some reading. He loves Diary of a Wimpy Kid, so I don't know if anyone else's children like enjoy reading that. So he sat there and he's done about 100 pages worth of reading, which I'm really pleased with, because although it's not necessarily what I would have liked for him to have done today, he is starting to engage, and that's the most important thing, is that we can get ourselves into this regular routine of learning at home. Lesson learned, couple of lessons learned for the afternoon session. First one, the same as the morning session, is definitely I need to prep a lot more the lesson planning. I still had a plan in my head of what I was going to do for the English lesson this afternoon, and it kind of went out, but everyone did their spellings at the same time. No, I tell a lie. Everyone was doing their spellings at the same time, but everyone finished at the same time, and then I was trying to mark them all, so I swapped that. So my 10-year-old was doing the sentences, which meant he had sort of like 10-15 minutes of quiet time to himself, whilst I did reading with my 5-year-old. And obviously my eldest was doing the reading anyway. For my preschooler, my little girl, I did trying to get her to do some ABC, some writing. So I just did the dots. I've done it with all my boys. So I do just the dots on the thing, and then I ask her to join them up. So at the moment I'm trying to teach her to write her name. She's got a short first name, but our surname's really long. So when I say trying to teach her a name, it's like 26 letters, nearly every letter in the alphabet. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm touching my face again. I know I shouldn't because of corona. I was sitting like this. I watched something on the BBC, and she said, a psychologist said to try and stop yourself from doing it too. So I'm trying to do this, but I'm half Italian, so Italians are quite animated, and we use our hands a lot and stuff like that. So it's trying to teach yourself to do something that you've done your entire life is, again, just a bit difficult training. So I'm going to try and do it, hold it like this to stop myself from touching my face. But yeah, so she was doing sort of like her first name and then trying to start doing the dot to dots for her second name. So hopefully by the end of this, she'll be able to write her first and second name, which is great. And she sat down quite quietly, actually, when everyone was doing it. It was, it was nice. But then when she'd finished, this is definitely one of my lessons learned. So lesson learned 1 is, again, more prep for my lesson planning. Lesson 2, if you have more than one child, which I'm sure most of the people do, most of you do. That's not to say you don't, if you was to have an only child, that's absolutely fine. But obviously we are a larger than average family. I made the mistake when Bo was, my second eldest was finished his, was he finished? He'd finished his sentences, and I was still doing some reading with my 3-year-old. So my youngest daughter asked my second eldest for some help doing her obviously her joining up for her letters, and so he's then turned around and said, oh, am I like the teaching assistant? So of course I've said, yeah, you can be the teaching assistant because you're helping my 3-year-old. Didn't really think at that time of what I was saying, and I've then gone, third lesson learned, obviously big family, I do a lot of washing, so I was on my second wash load, the washing machine went, and as in my wash load had finished, and I hadn't really thought, so I thought, oh, the kids are all sitting down quietly and nicely and doing some work, I'll just go and hang up the washing whilst they're doing all of this. Big mistake. Went upstairs, within 5 minutes I could hear my 5-year-old's come up saying that my 3-year-old's drawn on his alphabet and writing, and then I could hear my 10-year-old telling my 5-year-old off, saying, you can't do that to the 3-year-old, and then my 10-year-old was saying, well, I'm the teaching assistant, so I can do whatever I like. Didn't anticipate any of that, obviously. Big lesson learned. Don't give any children any kind of authority over another child, because it will backfire. So I've then feverishly tried to hang up the washing so I can get back downstairs and obviously help with the children. So another lesson learned. I will make sure that, I do usually have all of my housework done. It's one of the reasons that I don't want to start the lessons until 10 o'clock, because obviously I'm not used to having 4 children at home with me. They're all at school, other than my little one, who only does preschool 2 days a week. So yeah, usually I am doing all my housework. So I'm getting all my housework done out of the way in the morning, so that I then frees the rest of the day up for me just to completely, immerse myself in this process and support the children. Just didn't really think, because I did 2 wash loads today, I just didn't think, oh, it's all right, I'll just hang that up this afternoon, not realising obviously that it was going to finish right in the middle of our afternoon lesson. So that's another lesson learned. I think I'll have to either stop doing my second wash load when I do 2 wash loads a day in the afternoon, and just do it, because we're going to be finishing at no later than 3 o'clock anyway, so I can always just put the washing on then and just hang it up an hour later. But it means that the kids have got my full support. Hold on, what's the matter, darling? What are you checking?
I was just looking what you're doing.
You're looking at what I'm doing, so you're checking up on me and looking at what I'm doing. It's my oldest. So a couple of lessons learned. 1, again, absolute planning. 2, definitely don't try and do any housework whilst you're in the middle of trying to teach a lesson. 3, definitely don't give any kind of teaching authority to any children to look after any or support any of the younger children if you've got an older and an elder, like an older and a younger. That absolutely does not work. And what was the last one that I wanted to say? I think for me, again, obviously those are 3 big lessons for me to learn and take away from this. I'm definitely thinking that I'm going, even though I've only done a morning and an afternoon of this, I definitely think that attempting to teach all the kids at the same time, I don't necessarily think is going to work for me. And it's, again, just because I've got a larger family. And it's more to do with my preschooler, if I'm honest with you, because it's great that she wants to do the learning and be with her brothers and everything else. What's going on? And she wants to do it, but she obviously doesn't have that long an attention span to do a certain task. So I'm finding that I'm having to kind of, again, stop to try and, make sure she's okay. So usually I've got an amazing relationship with mum. She's a big support, big part of our lives. If I was actually just doing this, if we wasn't in, our epidemic that we are at the moment, and I could get out and about, or, I could ask for some support from my mum, and I was thinking of doing homeschooling, if that makes sense, on a more longer term basis, then I would have more than likely said to me, Mum, oh, can you come round for a couple of hours, have a cup of tea, do this, do that, and can you just watch Mia for me whilst my 3-year-old, whilst I'm obviously supporting the other kids. But obviously that's not an option because grandparents can't come round because they're at such high risk, the same as myself. I think the other thing that I definitely need to go and get is actually the stuff that you need to deliver it. So I've got some exercise books and stuff like that, but it's definitely more geared towards the younger ones. So I don't know whether it's an oversight on my part as a parent, but I definitely feel that when they're younger, sort of like the preschool, up until sort of really their infants and then going into juniors, I have definitely spent more time on their education than when they go into the juniors. When they go into the juniors, and definitely when they go into secondary, I've found that I've stepped back. That might be to do with the fact that obviously I do have a larger family. I think it's more to do with the fact of they work more on their own, if I'm honest with you. Like my oldest will come in, he'll just do some homework and he'll ask me to look after it or over it, or if he's doing a project of some kind, then I might support him on that. But other than that, he'll come in and just quietly do his homework, and it's exactly the same as my 10-year-old. I'll do his spellings with him, I'll do his reading with him, and I'll check his homework, but I wouldn't necessarily set anything for him. So I don't really have anything to hand at the moment in the house for, I would say, probably 7, like age 7 upwards. And again, if I wasn't in the self-isolation stage, at the moment, I would have 100% gone, I'm going to jump to WH Smith's or wherever, and bought some of those kind of exercise books, like I said, in my second post. I don't have exercise books here. I've got A4 sheets of paper, I've got colouring books, I've got card, I've got different pieces of coloured paper, pens, all of that. But I don't have a specific writing exercise book for the children. I've got these sort of things, like I've got these kind of books where, oh, sorry, oh, don't worry, I ain't got it. Just went down the wrong hole. I've got these sort of things where, you've got the picture and then it's got the word in the dots, which is what I always do with the kids, which they will then fill in and then we can wipe it over and they can carry on practicing it. So I've got like that sort of thing, but I don't have, like rough books and stuff. I've got stuff that I've got when I was at work, which has got like the first half level my work stuff on it, and I don't necessarily want to get rid of any of that because you never know, we might go back into that sort of that thing. But yeah, so I definitely feel like I need to get some materials, if that makes sense, to attempt to deliver this. We have had some updates from the government around the schooling. So obviously all the schools are now closed. As I said, my children have been off since Monday, but all the schools will be closing on Friday. And they are setting online tutorials and they are sending school home from work and so forth. And so I'm excited to see what that's going to bring, because I'm hoping that will assist me or help me if I've got something to... It's all right, I've got pigeons on my... Where are all these pigeons coming from on my... It's putting me off. Yeah, I'm excited to see what those sort of packages are going to be. But as my children, as I've said, they've been very locked down with any kind of social media, any kind of direct online working, as in they have an account set up in their name with a password. They don't have anything like that. I know it's the direction of travel for schooling, but it's not something that I've actively encouraged. And so we will be getting hard papers, the schools, both the primary and the secondary that my children go to, which is absolutely fantastic. That's really accommodating of them at this such a challenging time. But there's still to kind of iron out and clarify, how it's actually going to work. So I think if you've got a child that's doing an online course activity, the teacher can obviously mark it online and then feed back the results, the scores, instantaneously, or whenever it is that they're doing their marking, be slightly different for those children that don't have access to the internet, or, you know, don't have a PC at home, all those kind of things. And obviously then wouldn't be able to go, if their previous one was they used the library, obviously they're not going to be able to use any of that. So they'll be in the same bracket as us of doing paper kind of exercises and books and stuff like that. And I'm yet to kind of have confirmed how, if my children do that and then I've got like a week's worth of work, for example, where am I sending that to for the children to get their marks, and how's it going to be fed back? Is it all going to be via the post? That's great. Whilst we have post, again, we don't know what state the country's going to be in the coming days, weeks, potentially months. We don't even know we're going to have a postal service running. So again, these are all kind of things that I'm waiting to hear from the schools and the education board on how it's actually going to be managed. But needless to say, any work that we do get and we do receive, we will of course undertake. I will support the children and I will ensure that they are completed. It's just the thing for me is, if there's some stuff on there that I don't know, like for example the English stuff that I was talking about earlier, like I ain't done anything like that for like 25 years. I ain't going to know some of the stuff that the kids are going to be doing, if I'm honest. Even my 10-year-old, I certainly ain't going to know it from his 14-year-old. I don't know how I'm going to mark it. If, for example, the outcome is that we ain't got no posts and I can't send it nowhere, and then I've got my kids doing all this work, which is great, brilliant, you know, as a mitigation plan, it's absolutely fantastic. But I could be marking it and I'm going to be going, yeah, you're doing an awesome job there, that all looks great. And it could be completely wrong. I have no idea. But, you know, it's difficult to speculate at this stage because no one really knows, and no one, I don't think, can make that decision, or even give me an indication. If anyone can, then awesome, let me know. But if not, never mind. So that was the afternoon session. I think it definitely 100% went better than my maths, which was surprising because it's definitely one of our favourite subjects. But I think it's more to do with even getting the kids back into that mindset. Even though they've not done anything for 4 days, it was getting them to accept that we're going to be doing this Monday to Friday in the house. And I think that, to start with, was probably what was the little bit unsettling bit. And for me, just to get them into that routine. But for the afternoon, they was all expecting it. We spoke about it at lunch. You know, I said, what do you think worked? And everyone was just like, Mum, come on. So I said, I'll work on it and see what else we can do. But it definitely worked a lot better. And I think the kids' headspace was very much in a learning mindset, which helps. And I'm absolutely over the moon that my eldest came and actually wasn't just sitting there sulking kind of thing, like, you know, what teenagers do, but actually did do some reading. And I think that's a really good starting point, because there's no point in me sitting here screaming and shouting him, trying to get him to do something, because all he's going to do, the more, you know what it's like, we're all human, 9 times out of 10, the more times you're told to do something, the more times you're not going to do it. It's just, I don't know why we do things like that, even though we know it's in our best interest, but people don't like to be told. You want to make that decision yourself. And obviously, you know, adolescents in teenage years, they're finding their feet, they're finding themselves. And so, you know, they don't want any, I think maybe he's finding it hard, the fact that, you know, he's got his teachers, they're at school, that's his life at school. I'm his mum, I have a completely different role in his life, in all my children's life. I'm the mum, I'm the carer, I'm the one who, you know, takes care of them. And I'm not saying that teachers don't, but obviously I'm the mother. You know, I feed them and keep them warm and give them cuddles and, you know, wipe their tears when they're sad and hug them when they're happy. So, you know, the role change as myself as a parent might have thrown him off slightly, I don't know. But maybe he's seen that I am trying, maybe trying to, might be trying his senses a bit. He's a bit more happier to kind of give it a go, I suppose. But yeah, there you go. Then my lessons learnt for this afternoon. Planning, which I'm going to definitely do tonight. I've got to do dinner and all the rest of it. But yeah, I'm going to try and do some when the kids are down. Definitely don't give any other children any kind of teaching authority over another child. That does not work. Third lesson learned is don't do any housework in the middle of trying to teach a lesson. Because again, it doesn't mix. But that's about it. So yeah, let's see what tomorrow brings. Good luck, everyone. If anyone's trying any of this out, and yeah, I hope you're finding it useful. I have to say though, even all this aside, it's really weird. I'm finding this really therapeutic because I feel like it's odd because I'm talking to myself. Maybe that's what people like. I don't know, talking to yourself. I've never done anything like this, but it is nice to talk. I feel like I'm talking to someone, even though it's me. Surreal. I don't know how your brain works. But anyway, good luck with it all, and I'll see you tomorrow.